All right, everyone, welcome back to SEGATHON 7. Can't believe we've done 7 of these so far. This is Ecco the Dolphin, but it's a version that hasn't been on a SEGAthon before. This is the Japanese version of the game, which you can kind of think of as a patch 1.01. They corrected a lot of bugs and implemented some pretty big quality of life improvements from a casual playthrough perspective. It does make the speedrun a little bit slower because there aren't as many skips that we can do, but there are still some, and there are some interesting things from speedrunning point of view. So, yeah, gonna go ahead and get started. Welcome to the Machine does still exist, but there are a couple of things that make it way easier than on the original release. The time will start when Echo is in home bay after I swim over to the new game screen here. So I'm not gonna give a countdown. I'm going to just say go and you can start the timer. So go. And right off the bat, we trigger the storm to get Echo's family sucked up into the sky. We don't really know why that happened just yet, but now we're onwards to Medusa Bay. On the US version, there is a glitch where we can bring up a sonar map and just skip the level outright. They fixed that in the Japanese version, so we've got to play this level as intended, grab the key glyph, navigate back up these tunnels, and swim through the jellyfish, the eponymous, onto the undercaves. This is one of the few levels where we can still skip a glyph. One of the big changes in the Japanese version is you can no longer get pushed through glyphs by hitting them while moving backwards. They fixed that. But there is one glyph that is still positioned. This one down here has a large enough gap that we can actually turn around mid-collision and get pushed through. But that's the only glyph skip that we'll see. So that is a huge difference from the US version. And much like the US version, there's not really anything that we can do in the vents to speed it up other than good movement, which I'm not having right now. But, you know, it's a marathon. We just roll with the punches. And fortunately, the skip in the lagoon still works, which is good because this stage is terrible from a casual perspective. It's where most runs end, but fortunately we can force scroll the camera and push Echo to the exit. Now the NCF stands for no camera freeze. In all versions of Echo, there is a way where you can manipulate Echo's movement such that you freeze the camera in place and move Echo off screen, and you can clip through walls when you do that. The reason that I don't particularly like the category is, number one, it's kind of boring from a speedrun perspective, and number two, the camera freeze controls are rather finicky, and I just don't like doing them. So that's why we're playing the no camera freeze category. These rotating stars here eat rocks, which is very useful because there is a barrier made of rocks right over here. And since the air swim glitch on this level is no longer useful, we're just going to complete it as intended. Onward to Open Ocean. This music is exclusive to the Japanese version. It was a cut track. It was likely cut because it's not as good as most of the other ones, but I still kind of like it. One nice quality of life improvement is on this stage, you can basically put Ecco right at the surface of the water, and all of the sharks will miss him. The magic pixel is substantially lower in the US release of the game, but not at the very bottom of the level. So lining up Ecco is kind of difficult, whereas it's super free in this version of the game. And onward to the ice levels. Since there's no glyph skipping in this, got to find our key down here. Take a bunch of damage from the snow crabs, just cause why not? Make things a little harder for ourselves. Hardwater, we might get a chance to see one of the major quality of life improvements in the Japanese version, which is checkpoints. Rather notoriously, in the US release of Ecco, if you die anywhere in the level, including like right at the exit, you've got to play the entire level over again. Whereas in the Japanese release, there's a checkpoint at every barrier glyph. Hopefully, I won't need it. But if I get crushed by the ice blocks here, I will respawn at, oh! Speak of the devil and he shall appear. So that's nice quality of life improvement. Don't need to replay the entire level. I'm playing Ecco because I've lost control of my life. Ain't that the truth? Now, shout out to rental stores. One thing that is somewhat common knowledge now, but, you know, I still bring it up, is one of the reasons that they probably tuned down the difficulty for the Japanese release of this game is that video game rental stores, you can't have video game rentals in Japan. It's against the law. So you combine that with the knowledge that one of the reasons that Ecco the Dolphin was made so difficult is that video rental stores existed and were quite popular in the United States, and Ed Annunziata, the creator of the Ecco series, didn't want people just beating the game on a rental. So we got through the Arctic levels. We're now doing open ocean, but this time we're swimming to the left instead of the right. And we hear the original soundtrack. I mean, I imagine most stores have return policies. It's probably for unopened material, but the secondhand market for all physical media in Japan is huge because you don't have that rental market. So it's kind of a different culture over here, whereas in the West, you have people like collecting and kind of hoarding games. In Japan, there's much more of a buy it, play it, sell it kind of culture. So that keeps the ecosystem a little healthier for the retro community. And let's see how well. Took a little damage from the octopus, so not too bad. Should still be in good shape for the rest of the level. You just don't want to take too much damage on this level since gonna be kind of short on air if you're going optimal speed strats. And this is gonna be close. Why not, though? It's SEGATHON. Okay, managed to make it through by the skin of our teeth. There was another bug fix on this level that makes it a little bit trickier to speedrun. There is no longer a magic pixel where you can avoid all of the spikes in this tunnel, so we actually have to move left and right. Real bummer. And hey, it's our friend, the Asterite. Asterite says, "I remember you," which is odd because we've never seen this giant alien DNA strand before in our lives, but he tells us to go to Atlantis and use the time machine, which Atlantis is well known for. I shouldn't have gotten the invincibility there because that's just going to lag out the game, but whatever. Anyway, we're looking for a time machine, but first we've got to go through numerous levels in Atlantis. There's a glyph off screen that removes a barrier here. And the library has a little interesting routing change. In the original release of this game, there is a barrier that you're supposed to talk to a glyph to open up, but the barrier was incorrectly flagged as essentially an enemy, so you could just break it by charging into it and could skip the glyph entirely. They fixed it in the Japanese version, so there's the glyph. Tells us access granted. And we just swim to the exit. Deep City is another level, first try, that we normally exit with a sonar map, but since that glitch doesn't work in the Japanese version, we get to see the whole level. Nah, sorry, nightmares are required. It's an echo stream. And we sing to the naked guy statue for some invincibility to break these obstacles. And take out every single jellyfish. One nice thing about the Japanese version is that enemies stay dead when they're killed, unlike the US version where they respawn when they're off screen. And avoided the first trap, did not avoid the second trap, which is the worst of the two, but hey, so it goes. We're on to City of Forever, which there are a couple routes through. One of them is very long with many difficult jumps, but you can just sonar that statue and it opens up a shortcut straight to the end of the level. And this is very important. On the Japanese version, we have to talk to that glyph to activate the time machine. If I didn't, those blocks in the center of the screen would fall down onto Echo and crush him. You didn't have to worry about that in the US release of the game. They didn't set up the flags properly, so you could skip it, but no such luck in the Japanese version. And now we are traveling back in time. 55 million years. So in this level, we employ the services of a friendly pteranodon. The PAL version is exactly the same as the US version. They are the same ROM, byte for byte identical. So the only difference is that if you're playing it on a PAL Mega Drive, it runs at 50 Hz instead of 60 Hz. So there are only two versions of the Genesis ROM. There was the 1.0 version that was released in the United States, PAL territories, and South Korea. Then there was this version, which was exclusive to Japan. And one thing I don't like as much about the Japanese version is that this track does not continue between loading screens. It restarts, which is unfortunate because that way you never really get to hear the entire track in the Japanese version, whereas in the US release, the music kept playing during the loading screens, so you could hear pretty much the entire track, and it's a banger, so not every change in the Japanese version was for the better, in my opinion. Like, this level, number one, they fixed the massive Pteranodon zip, where you could skip approximately half the level. So there's that, and since they patched glyph skips as well, this is substantially longer, one of the biggest differences in routing between the two versions. Alright, just last key glyph here, which we sonar in order to get some invincibility. Don't strictly need it, but it keeps things a little comfier. And our friend the Pteranodon helps us out again. And Origin Beach is exactly the same. There aren't any major speedrun glitches that were used in this route, so you just do the exact same thing as on the US version. And up here, we just swim up this shaft and to the exit. Trilobite Circle had a pretty big routing change. Rather than finding a key glyph and navigating through the level, in the Japanese version, there is a teleport ring behind the giant seahorse there, which just takes you to the end of the level. And Dark Water is a little bit scary because we can't skip as many of these really fast-moving shells. The invincibility helps, but we only get that on the first trip. The return, we gotta do it without the invincibility. And I'm just going to get these on screen, get the positioning a little bit more favorable so I don't get crushed. Hit the invincibility again. Fortunately, that shortcut still is in place. And now, we gotta fight the asteroid. Got a good, clean fight. Oh, we stole his globe 55 million years ago. That's why he was missing a globe. And that's why he recognized us. So, with that context, it's actually quite generous that he didn't zap us immediately. So we're just playing through deep water again. Same route as before. Little better luck on the spike tunnel that time. And now our air meter is gone. We can breathe underwater, which isn't really that important because you're not going to run into any point in this game from this moment onwards where air would have been a worry anyway. But we're back in Atlantis. We are going to use the time machine to return to the Hour of the Storm. And it is there that we will see the unseen enemy. Just activate the time machine. Nice. That's the second fast time machine that we've gotten. Or the quick time machine for other viewers who are approaching 40. Remember QuickTime? Remember when that was a video format? Anywho, back at the start of the game. And get sucked up, only this time we get sucked up along with the rest of the pod, and now we're in space. Turns out the enemy was aliens the entire time. So, I hope y'all enjoy auto-scrollers, because we've got about 8 minutes of auto-scroller coming up. Not a whole lot to do on this level, except break the obstacles with the sonar. How's chat doing? Everybody enjoying SEGATHON so far? Gotten some good stuff. Good showcase of Pico games, which is something that you don't see too often in these events. Then a fine demonstration of Ristar. That new skip that was recently discovered on Scorch is crazy. You know, anytime there is a glitch where you're into letting you walk on air, I'm all about it. I realized that I asked how chat was doing, but I can't really read chat during this section, because if I don't pay attention, I die. And that's suboptimal for speedrunning. So I'm just gonna ask everybody who's having a good time, just type 1 in chat. Just the number 1 if you're having a good time. Number 2 if you think it sucks. Just, yeah, let's farm some engagement here. Alright, so seems like Wax, that wasn't an option. In fact, that's so far off from correct. That's the complete opposite side of the keyboard. How did you even do that? Alright, some people are better at following instructions than others, but seems like most of ya are having a good time. I'm having a good time too. Welcome to the machine. This level is notorious for being this game's great filter. It's a approximately 6-minute long auto-scroller where if you die, which is very easy to do because of crush deaths, you would have to play the entire thing over again. Of course, that was the US version. In the Japanese version, they introduced some checkpoints. Truly novel concept. That glyph that I just sonar'd is the first of 4 checkpoints in the level. So, on average, the Japanese version of the game is about 6 to 7 minutes slower than the US version, depending on how well you play. But if you die at basically any point during Welcome to the Machine or the subsequent boss fight, then the Japanese version is faster than the US version, simply because you don't have to play the entire Welcome to the Machine level again. There's number 2. Also, for some bizarre reason, they changed the color of the alien drones here. They were green in the original game, but in this version, they made them gray for some reason. I've got no idea why. It doesn't really make them any easier to see against the background. In fact, I think they're kind of lower contrast, so maybe they were going for stealth. There was number 3. So, exciting Ecco news recently. Ed Annunziata announced that the original development team for Ecco the Dolphin is remastering Ecco and the Tides of Time. And if you check out EccoTheDolphin.com, you'll see a countdown timer, and you'll also get to hear some of the remastered music that is being worked on. I believe the track is now Aqua Tube Way from Tides of Time, and it sounds pretty good. Ed announced that the hourglass is centered. Never. In the Chicon remaster, the hourglass is going to be even more off-center, and likely tilted just like 1 pixel askew. Just rotated by a pixel. Just throw everything off. But, anyway, kind of hilarious. A couple days ago, sometime last week, apparently, they're short on experts to interview in Canada. So, the Globe and Mail interviewed me about the upcoming Ecco the Dolphin remaster announcement. They're like, hey, you speedrun this game. It's like, what are your thoughts? And it's like, I will tell you. So you can find the link on my Twitter page. It's paywalled, so get around that by whatever method you prefer. I think links in SegaCrew as well. I'm not Canadian. yells. I'm, in fact, specifically listed as an American streamer in the article. It was kind of a cool process. You know, somebody reached out to me, and there was an interview. We talked for about 40 minutes, and they used a couple quotes from that where I sounded, you know, vaguely coherent. All right, final boss time. I'm gonna try to do this quickly to minimize the trauma we're inflicting upon the viewers. Okay. Pretty good luck so far. Just wanna not take too many hits. Oh, nope, bad luck. This fight is substantially harder on the Japanese version because you're dealing with the same auto-scroller regenerating health as the previous area, which massively ups the damage values you take. So before I take out the second eye here, I want to be back at full health. Try not to take too much damage. We should be good. And we just take out the queen. And die on the last hit. That was exciting. Oh! Well, this is still better than a death on the US version, because every time you die, you would have to replay Welcome to the Machine. Okay. Let's regen. Not get hit by the green projectiles. Okay. Okay, cool. Time will occur on the transition to the black screen here, and time. We did it! We won the last fight. We saved our family. Everything is great, including this music track that sounds absolutely nothing like any of the other music in the game. It's very celebratory. We get to eat some fish. Ecco's very hungry after the long journey. Then, swim around and talk to our buddies. So yeah, that was Ecco the Dolphin, any % no camera freeze, Japanese edition. Hope you enjoyed it. I will be back in about 11-ish hours to run Baroque on the Sega Saturn, which is a very cool game. If you've never seen it before, I highly recommend checking it out. But we got a whole lot more good quality Sega content prior to that, so I hope you will stick around for a while and enjoy all of that. So yeah, whenever you're ready, Booster, just take us away. I've been Grimshins, and I will see you all again later tonight.